salad.
Right.
Oh. Are you going to put some cigarettes in there?
Your ass.
I meant the sleeves.
Who's talking about it? No one was talking about it.
All right. Can you hear me?
Y'alls.
Probably not me. There we go.
Yep, and I can hear you now.
Good.
Yep, you're good.
Count us in.
3, 2, 1, go!
Boom! What's up, motherfuckers?
Zamboni.
Welcome to another episode of Necro Electric. I'm your host, Sean D. Skellington. This is my sexalicious wife, Kylie. Over here, the sorceress of the sound waves,
Hello.
Jordan Fernandez.
Hello.
Today, like most days, we have an amazing guest. He's the one, the only Professor Pendark.
Hey.
Professor.
I don't know if I'm the only, but I'm the only one I know.
The only one I know.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I must be the only one.
Before we get too far, you know the routine. Hit the subscribe button.
Do it.
Punch it. Hit it. Click it.
Did you say lick it?
Click it.
Oh, I thought
or
you said
lick it. Whatever you're into. I
Yeah,
guess.
either way. Either way.
All right, this is Professor Pendark's first time on the show.
Yes.
So he has to answer the 3 questions of who the hell are you?
And so these questions 3.
I'd like to point
Okay.
out Jordan is now bringing her own fancy pen.
Oh, this is Megan's pen
Megan's.
that she left here, and it also
Sandy
it's got
aesthetic.
your name on it, but you're not getting it back. It's mine now.
All right, first question. Would you be a vampire, a werewolf, a pirate, a warlock, or a troll or monster hunter?
Are we guessing first?
Yeah.
Don't say your answer yet. We're going to guess. This is a hard
Do
one.
I want to expound
Oh, no,
on
this
this
is
one?
it's
not.
No.
What are we talking
Mine's,
Yeah.
mine's not.
Okay, got it.
No. Okay.
All
I
right.
read your
Are you ready?
mind.
And prepare for her to say like 5 things.
Probably. I mean, there out of that list, there was like 4 of them that I was kind of having a hard time choosing. But ultimately, if I had to choose, I would be a werewolf.
Oh,
Damn it.
shit.
I said
Man,
Yeah, I said warlock.
I said warlock troll.
Warlock
I
troll.
almost said that
She always
too.
throws troll in there.
Troll,
Yeah.
well, you know.
I like having 2 things. It's cool if you're a warlock or a werewolf, but if you're or a warlock or a troll, but if you're both at the same
You're like a
time,
magical
Well, you
ass
know-
werewolf. Like
exactly.
Like doing
exactly.
magic under a bridge.
You know, something.
She's into dragging people under bridges.
It sounds like you'd be selling meth though, doing magic under bridges.
I'm the magic man of the bridge.
All right. Second question. What kind of porn do you enjoy?
Hold on, we're guessing.
Okay, I'll let you guess.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
I don't think I'm right, but
Neither am I, but it was funny to think about.
What's your
Well,
answer?
When I was a younger man, just about anything. But now that I'm older, a little more refined, a little more, a little classier than I used to be. Anything with a really good storyline.
Oh,
Okay.
into that
Oh.
bougie.
You like the high class, highfalutin porn.
The
High production.
You know,
High
Yeah.
production.
Got it.
the expensive stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I
lucky
lose.
though. I like a good story. What about you there, Fernandez?
I said a magician's assistant porn.
Actually, there was a time back when I was a much younger man. I have lots of those stories. Back when I was a much younger man, I actually contemplated taking a job in porn movies.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
You heard it here first.
The problem was I started losing my hair in my 20s,
Oh.
and I'm really not going to discuss the other thing, but it just wasn't. It wasn't a career option for me.
It wasn't in the cards.
Wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, I said magic porn.
I said hairy people werewolf porn.
I'm actually gonna look up magic porn. That could be like that could be wild.
It's got to be.
It's gotta be.
Right? It's got to be.
It's gotta be.
There has to be something out there.
Oh, for
there's
sure.
everything.
If nothing else, it's just the magician and his assistant,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
he's
yeah.
assisting.
Probably.
She's
like-
assisting him with
Pulls
his
the
new.
dildo out of the hat or something.
Yeah. So, whoops! How did that get there?
Okay, I got a story about that too.
Saws the lady in half.
There was actually one of the early jobs that I did as a magician. I was invited to a bachelorette party,
Ooh,
and I had.
saucy.
I won't describe the whole thing, and of course, I'm not going to tell you the secret. But I had this big box.
That's what she said.
Wait for the punchline. I had this big box, and the idea was to show the box empty, and then to reach into the box and pull out a bunch of things. Well, those things just happened to be multiple sex toys, which I was then told to hand out to the various people at the party.
Oh.
It's a wild bachelor.
I don't know if I would accept a sex toy from a magician.
Exactly. Now, that was not one of my better paying gigs, so I quit doing those. Yeah. Somehow they were expecting a little more. Again, I'm not gonna
Like a
talk-
stripper magician?
Well, I don't know. I think they were expecting a bigger wand or something.
Oh, okay.
And then third question, mixed it up a slight bit. If you could turn back time and change one thing, what would you change?
If I could turn back time.
Well,
Sound like Cartman. Me.
that's a tough one actually, because I am a huge fan of Doctor Who. So there are so many things that I think about that I would go back if I had that machine where I could go back and change anything.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things I would go back and change, but for me personally, I would not have gotten married when I was 19.
Ooh, same. It's
Yeah,
a mistake. Always a
It was-
mistake.
there's only one reason to get married when you're 19, and that wears off after some time,
Money?
Well,
Well, we know Jordan's reason.
no, I didn't.
Ain't
have
saying
that.
she's a gold digger.
But
No,
yes.
money was not in the cards for me either. Still not. I'm still working on that $1 million.
Yeah.
Nice.
Me too. Yeah.
Sweet. And then we have one rando question.
Okay.
Okay, so what is the silliest thing you have an emotional attachment to?
Ooh.
Like something that you probably would not discuss with your friends, but you're going to discuss it here.
But you're going to say it in front of
And then
millions.
all your friends are going to find out.
And
least
then all
four.
of your, well, yeah. I've got friends all across the spectrum. I have some really highly religious friends that are going to see this on Facebook and probably disown me after this. But that's all right. I'll get over it. The weirdest thing I have an emotional attachment.
To make it easy for you, I have a bunny rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
A bunny rabbit?
Yeah.
A stuffed bunny rabbit.
Stuff.
He's got a dark origin, but
We've heard this story before.
I would have to say that the weirdest thing that I have an emotional attachment to is actually one of the very first magic tricks that I ever learned.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the dumbest thing because it's this little plastic toy. You see them everywhere now, right? The little plastic toy magic tricks. And it was actually given to me by the guy that taught me.
Oh,
cool.
okay.
So it's like I have an emotional attachment to that because that's really where I started.
Yeah.
Into the magic.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long story that comes after that, but that's
Okay.
the thing I have the emotional attachment to. I think.
Nice.
nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I
Well,
like
let's
that.
get into it, man. What got you into magic?
Well, actually, as opposed to some of the stories you might expect from scouting, I actually had one of my scoutmasters was a magician. He was a semi-professional magician, Philip the Great, back in Utah.
Aw.
And
Shout out.
he actually was looking for an assistant. He was wanting somebody much prettier than I am, but he said, "You know what? why don't you come along? I'll show you what I do. You can learn this, because I had expressed an interest in it.
How old were you?
I was 12,
Okay.
Okay.
almost 13, and I went and assisted him in a couple of shows, and from there it just kind of went on. As far as the stuff I'm doing now, there's a whole origin story there that is interesting. But Pendark actually comes from a very dark place in my life, and it's kind of like Pendragon means of the dragon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pendark is of the dark. He is of that dark place in my life where, we're talking, I had bought the razor blades and I was ready to use them. It was that kind of a period in my life. And I was pulled out of that by my very first haunted house gig. I met somebody that said, hey, come on, I got something for us to do. Because I was actually headed toward Halloween when I was going to do this. And he said, come with me, I got something for us to do. And I ended up with a gig at Rocky Point Haunted House in Utah.
Okay.
And I was with them for 10 years, ultimately. And then that was kind of what pulled me out of it. And I had tried to stint for a while as a character actor. And I was doing some of the FX makeup stuff. Learned how to do the bruises and scars.
That's cool.
And,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tearing people's chests open, all of that kind of stuff. And that was fun work. I enjoyed it. But I always ultimately came. Magic was kind of the fallback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even today, I still have a day job. Magic's kind of the fallback, right? But Pendark came from that period in my life, and then some years later, when I had kind of a roller coaster, right? And some years later, I met my current wife.
Shout out.
Yeah, she's the only thing holding me together most of the time.
Aww.
I met my current wife and moved down here in 2001, and that was actually the year that we had, God, what was it, like 9 straight days of 108 degrees outside, and I was out looking for work, and I about killed myself. And anyway, that's a long story. So where the professor comes from, I was telling you that story so I could get to this one. Where the professor comes from is I was actually doing a gig for Museum of the Weird downtown.
Which is in Austin, if nobody knows.
For those that don't know, that's a little place in Austin. Great place to go. They have a pretty cool setup, and they have a little sideshow thing they do there too. That's kind of cool. Not as cool as yours, but it's cool. So I got a gig there, doing some of my mentalism and mind reading stuff, and there was a show that I had done. Where I had kind of the late night drunk crowd coming in, right? And there was one lady that came in, and I was doing, I know you guys are familiar with the stuff. I was doing a cold reading act. Right?
Okay.
And she came in, and I was doing the whole, reading her mind and doing the whole thing. And came on down to me starting to give her some life advice, right? And at one point, she stopped me because her husband, boyfriend, I'm not sure which, standing next to her was kind of like nodding his head like, yeah, he knows you. He's spot on. And she stopped me, and she shouted at the top of her lungs, way to tell my whole fucking life there, Professor. And I was like,
Nickname earned.
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping that. I'm keeping that. So yeah, that's where Professor Pendark comes from.
Nice.
That's nice.
And, I've kind of held on to it ever since.
You're like, oh
Yeah.
shit, that just sounds right.
Yeah, that just sounds good.
Yeah.
Gives me some kind of street cred, I guess.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's badass. Or you do a lot of cool trick, like your chain Houdini one. Was Houdini like something that you loved? Like,
I'm just
it freaks
thinking
her out
about
when
you dislocating your thumbs.
Oh, that one? Yeah. Yeah, that one. I actually do, for those that haven't seen it, I actually do a version of the Houdini thumb tie escape, and I use 10 feet of chain to do that.
And he did it at our vampire ball in his underwear.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I wanted to show that there were no keys hiding
Yeah.
anywhere that I was going to let anybody see.
Yeah.
It was badass.
And So the influence behind that really is not what you might think. Okay, when I was a little kid, it was Harry Blackstone, right? It was that kind of magic.
Okay. Night Court.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Harry Anderson.
Oh, Harry.
Harry Anderson is Night Court.
Magic on Night Court?
Yeah,
There was.
What?
Night
It was
Court.
cool. Yeah, it was cool.
You don't remember? You never seen that?
You've never
show?
seen the
I
show?
did
I
not
don't even know
watch
what that
Night
is.
Court.
He was a judge that did magic.
Yeah.
What? Like an actual court? Like Judge
Yeah,
Judy?
it was a sitcom. I used to watch the
Oh,
reruns.
okay. It's
Yeah.
not a real thing. It was a
Yeah, no, it was a sitcom.
Okay.
And he was
okay.
a judge, but then his fallback was magic. But like he would do like while he was in court, he'd get bored and
Gotcha.
do shit.
Okay.
You know, Sean, your wife and your friends are making me feel real old. I make a reference and they're like, and so, I make an 80s reference and I'm like, what?
When I was a little kid, my mom was a waitress and she was never home, so I watched reruns of everything from like 1950 shows all the way to current time. I know all the stupid shit.
Oh, yeah. And, that kind of stuff is cool, but the reason I do what I do, and what I tell people is that I am a combination of magic, mentalism, mysticism, and smartassery.
Definitely.
Because the reason I throw in the smartassery, and the technical term for that is mirth and mayhem, but the smartassery is because I feel like there are a lot of performers in the world, particularly magicians, that take themselves way too damn serious.
Oh, I agree.
True,
Okay.
true.
Example, like I really wanted to be Chris Angel.
I was
I
just
wanted
going
to
to
be-
say Chris
Like,
Angel.
I wanted to be that kind of style. When he first came out, I was like, hey, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. And then I looked at myself in the mirror and said, shit, that's not going to work.
You know what, too? One on a side note, I used to watch the Chris Angel stuff all the time. There is an episode of his show that never got I looked it up on the internet. I can't find anything. He's in a warehouse and he asks for a volunteer.
Right.
He cuts the volunteer's arm off, right? And he's like, the whole skit was he won't feel any pain, right? So he hypnotizes him, cuts his
Right.
arm off. Then they cart the guy off somewhere. He never comes back in the rest of the episode. And I
you
looked it
never
up.
find out what happened.
Yeah, you never see the guy again. So I'm like,
He
was that
died.
a Vegas? Like,
Right.
they just cut that dude's arm off?
He just died. That's
Do
all.
that.
The fuck?
Look it up. Look it up.
Oh, yeah. There's that one, and there's a couple others that he did. But I watched him, and I said, that's just too, he's got that whole dark vampire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just not my style. And I also looked at like David Blaine, right? The problem with David Blaine is every time I do the eyebrow stare, I just look like a pervert. So I said, you know what? I got to come up with my own thing, right? Instead of imitating other people, I got to come up with my own thing. And I thought about it, and what is more entertaining than a guy who comes out serious and in the middle of some serious shit like dislocating his thumb while he's pulling it out of chains, right? In the middle of that, you're looking at him in his underwear and he's joking about, don't look, talking about, hey, watch it with the chains,
Yeah.
What's more fun than that? Because to me, like I said, if you take yourself too serious, you either, I'm going to say Chris Angel makes a shit ton of money, but he seems to have this ego that I would not be able to sit and drink a beer with the guy.
No.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Totally.
he's got this air about him that just,
Yeah.
there's no way I could sit down with that guy for 30 minutes and have a beer.
Yeah.
And I want to be that guy, right? I want to be the guy that people can come to, and I do what I call pseudo psychic, right? Which is psychic light. I'll get into that theory in a minute. I'll tell you this story first, and then I'll tell you that one. I get into that stuff because I would rather be the storyteller that does some really cool shit than be the egotistical magician that does this,
Over dramatic guy.
over dramatic.
Yeah.
Well, it was super entertaining at our market. You got into a whole argument with that little kid, your biggest fan.
Oh yeah.
I
That kid
didn't
was-
see that. I was inside working.
That kid was funny. I always start off, with the kids. I always start off with my haunted dolls, right?
Yeah.
Because that is the thing that's going to get their attention first. So I start off with the haunted dolls, and then when I get in their face with the haunted doll, and they're like, What else are you going to do, man? I'll show you. But that kid was funny because, it was while the crowd was still building, right?
Yeah.
And he just had to see what I was doing. He just had to see what I was doing. So to me, I'd rather sit and perform for that kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was loving it.
I'd rather sit and perform for that kid and let everybody else show up and see what I'm doing
Yeah.
than to try and be this guy
For
and totally
everyone.
ignore that kid.
Yeah.
Well, and he's going to remember that
Oh, yeah.
forever.
He's going to talk about that for a long time.
Oh,
Yeah.
He might be the next Pendark.
Yeah.
Yeah. And which, by the way, that's another thing I'm working on. You were asking me the other day what are some of the things I'm working on, and to be ready to talk about them. So I'm ready to talk about them.
Sweet.
One of them is I am working on Pendarks Academy.
Ooh,
And
yay.
That is actually going to be kind of a Harry Potter-esque type thing.
Sweet.
Oh my God, you said the
Jordan.
magic words.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually teach magic and teach the techniques of character acting, and I'm going to teach some haunted house stuff. I'm going to teach that kind of stuff.
Nice.
That's so exciting.
Because I want to go back to my origins, and I want to find those kids that want to learn that stuff. And I'm kind of springing this on you guys, but I was going to talk to you guys about hosting that here. Start
Oh,
teaching
fun.
classes. Because what I want to do is I want to find that kid that has that interest, has that spark, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's at the disadvantage. Maybe he comes from a poor house. Maybe he's on the wrong side of the tracks. Maybe he's, challenged. Like one of the coolest people I have ever seen in my life. They call her Magic Jilly, and she's on Facebook, and she has Down syndrome, and she does magic, and she does it beautifully, and I love watching her. So that kind of became. That sort of thing kind of became the premise behind my group on Facebook, which I put together is Professor Pendark's School for the Gifted but Challenged, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I'm gifted but challenged, right? I am not the most logical person in the whole world. I have ADD, I have OCD, I've got all this stuff going on, which, you guys can tell because I don't stay on topic. But I have all this stuff going on that I've had to learn to live with all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I see these kids, and right now, well, I won't get into that whole story, but having a little hard time with my son right now, as far as that goes. He's got some challenges, and we're working on it. But he's a good kid, and he's going to come through it. He's got some stuff going on. We're working on it. But I look at kids like him, and I see challenges that people don't think about.
Mm.
The kid that stammers. The kid that stammers can still be taught to talk in public, right? Mm-hmm. The kid, I knew one kid that had a nerve jitter in his hand, right? And he couldn't control it. He had a nerve jitter in his hand, but as soon as I handed him a deck of cards and I showed him how to fan the cards, his hand calmed down and he was able to. So that's the kind of thing I want to do with that.
Oh,
I want to take those kids that have those challenges and give them the magic.
Nice.
Right.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Yeah, it's badass.
Because that's like going back to when I was 12. That's kind of where I feel like I was. I was that awkward fat kid that stammered, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here this guy came along and said, "Oh, you like magic? Well, let me show you." Right? So I want to do that. I want to do that for other people because that to me is the whole point of it. I'm not going to make maybe. I mean, we might make $1 million with me out here doing this for you guys, but then again, we don't know, right? Everything going on, and don't get me started on everything going on right now.
Yeah.
Jordan will sign up.
Yeah.
But it sounds like there's an age limit. I feel like I'm too old.
Not necessarily. Gifted and challenged is also the ex-military veteran or the military veteran, right, who came back from war and has PTSD and doesn't relate to people very well.
Mm-hmm.
You guide him in telling his story.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a whole difference. All of a sudden, he becomes this eloquent storyteller, and he's explaining and giving life advice to these people, and he didn't even know he could do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or, again, going back to the kids, I knew back in Utah 1,000 years ago, I knew a kid that she was introverted to the point where she had a hard time leaving the house, right? But when she came, I did a little church show, and when she came to see what I was doing, and she watched what I was doing for a minute, and she said, "That's really cool. I could never do that." And I said, "Yes, you could." And that's all I said to her. That's all I said to her. Yes, you could. And I found out from her parents a week later, she just told us to buy her first magic kit.
Oh, that's great.
That's so sweet.
You know what I'm a little hung up on is like, why is it, I mean, I've just been hearing all these funny things about churches, but like churches hiring magicians, my church would never. That's the devil.
Right.
That's the devil. We don't do magic.
That's out there, but I have discovered also that you're more, and okay, hold on, pause. All right. Pause. I actually, there are 3 things I usually don't talk about in my show, but we're not in my show right now, so it's okay. I usually don't talk about religion, politics, or sex. And the reason is I feel like those 3 things are personal between you and whoever you share that with, right?
Absolutely.
That's your personal relationship with whomever. Whatever you believe is in charge of the universe, that's your religion. That's you. That's your relationship to that thing, right? And it's the same thing with sex. Whatever, and you know, I've got conservative friends, I got liberal friends. Don't get me into that because they've been fighting their asses off for
Yeah.
6 weeks, and I'm sick of it. But I have friends on both sides of that, right? And to me, you have good ideas. You have good ideas. I'm going to take your good ideas. I'm going to take your good ideas. I'm going to stand over here. Y'all keep fighting it out. I don't give a shit. I'm going to stand back here, right? And I feel like it's the same way with all of life. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter what religion, race, creed, color, gender, sexuality, any of that. I don't care what that is for you. And I don't mean I don't care. What I mean is, to me, that doesn't matter, right? To me, that doesn't matter. I believe that we are all, deep down at our core, human beings. And that's all that matters, right? So when I am able to make that connection with somebody, and I forgot where I was going with this, so I'm going to go somewhere else. When I make that connection with somebody, right, that to me is what my show is about. That to me is what it's for. It's not because I make $1 million doing it. It's not because, you know, I'm going to be rich and famous, although, you know, being on this podcast is probably a giant step up. And thank you for that, by the way. But to me, you know, that's what it's about, is that connection with people. If you don't have that, then you're not doing it for the right reasons.
Oh yeah.
And that's what I see in these people like Chris Angel. I mean, not to carp on him, but David Blaine is the other one. David Blaine I refer to as asshat. I mean, he annoys the shit.
I love that word. I don't know why.
Real quick, we got time for an ad?
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Skellington Curiosities. Skellington Curiosities is the only curiosities and oddities shop in Waco, Texas, full of clothing, lingerie, accessories, oddities, and everyday curiosities. A spooky vibe 365. Visit us online at skellingtoncuriosities.com.
Boom. Check out our Facebook page for all of our events. We have all kinds, from the market to beginning tarot classes to moonwater classes. We're introducing a new spooky game night coming up, and possibly a learn magic class. So be sure to follow us on there.
Yeah, and I kind of sprang that on you guys. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
I love
We're
the
definitely
premise.
interested.
I love the concept.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll talk more for sure.
Yes.
We got a little bit of time. You want to bust a trick out or something?
Sure.
Yeah, you're gonna have to do it.
Jordan's never.
You're going to have to.
Have you
right?
seen him perform?
Yeah. I saw him at the vampire ball and then
that's right,
at the market.
She's seen some of my stuff.
She normally bails on our
I
events.
know she never comes. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I actually brought one of my favorites with me. Okay,
Sweet.
and this is
Oh,
an ancient box. Who's got the cell phone?
was that Oscar? Was that Jordan?
Oh, it was awesome.
Is he laughing back
Behind the
there?
scenes.
So, This was actually one of my coolest finds at a Goodwill store.
It's a cool box.
I tell everybody it was something else because that's what I do in my storytelling. Is I do P.T. Barnum bullshit stories.
Oh, yeah.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Exactly. So, when I talk to people, I tell them, hey, this is an ancient box from China. This is something along those lines, right? But what I've got in here, what I actually do have in here is I have a slip of paper. Okay. And on that slip of paper, I have written a prediction. Okay. Oh. And that prediction is of where I believe we're going to end up at the end of this particular conversation.
Okay.
All right. So I want somebody to hold on to this.
Oh, me.
Okay.
Pass it down.
Pass it across. Right? And the reason I want you to hold on to it, and don't look at the slip of paper yet.
Okay, I won't open it.
The reason I want you to hold on to it is because I want you to be sure that I'm not doing anything with the box. As one of the guys I used to love, old magician from Europe, he used to say, make sure that I'm not doing any jiggery pokery with that box.
There is no jiggery pokery,
right.
except that I love this box and I want it.
So what I've got here, jiggery pokery. It's one of those odd European phrases. Basically means make sure I'm not screwing.
I'm going to use it now.
Yeah. Basically means make sure I'm not screwing with the box.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what I've got here, right, is these are the cards that you use to test psychic ability.
Okay.
All right. And there are different colors and there are different shapes. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to read the minds of everybody in the room.
Uh-oh.
All right.
Clear my mind.
Oh, no.
Hope you wore a condom because my mind's dirty.
That's okay. I usually don't stick mine where I'm not sure it's going to be clean. But anyway. So you have 5 choices here.
Uh-huh.
All right. You see them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's your 5 choices.
Okay.
All right. So the very first thing that I'm going to do is, let's say this is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
All right. Very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to want you to name 4 of those 5. Any 4 of those numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 5.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 5. We're getting rid of 4. Okay. We're going to set it aside. Now, Sean, what I would like you to do, I'm going to mix these up a little more. All right. Not that 4 can be mixed very much, but we're going to do it anyway. Now, considering that this is, again, from my left to right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll go
Name 3 of those.
1, 3, and 4.
3 and 4. All right, we're going to get rid of 2, just like we did last time. All right. Now, you are down to 3 choices. All right.
Jordan.
Mix them up a little bit again. All right. And let's just say 1, 2, 3. All right, from my left to my right. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. And I pick
You name
2?
2 of them.
Okay, 1 and 3.
1 and 3. All right. We're going to do just like we did last time. We're going to set that aside. Okay. Now we've been left with 1 choice, and I'm going to hang on to it right here. I gave you all a free choice. You told me what numbers to pick. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're going to open that box, and at the same time as you open that box and read it, I'm going to turn this card over, and we're going to see if it matches.
Okay.
All right. You ready?
Ready?
Go ahead.
Because this is a symbol of solid thinking and strong foundation, you will choose a square. Shut the hell up!
Square.
I love magic.
Nice.
I love magic so much.
So that's one of my favorites.
Thank you. Oh, that's great. Also, I love those cards.
You like those?
Yeah.
Yes.
I actually found those on Amazon.
Really?
And I've actually started a collection. They have Bicycle Corporation. I mean, not that I'm pitching them, but they have.
Shut up.
They have like a whole collection of different novelty designs.
Mm-hmm.
They've got dragons on the back of them.
Yeah.
Some of them have like there's one that's called Ghost, and this one is one of my favorites. This one's called Archangels, right? I love the backs of these. These are cool.
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
All right. So, you guys want to see one more?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. All right. I'm going to take this deck of cards, and I actually have 2 decks of cards. And this time, Kylie, I want you to hang on to that.
Yes.
Okay? You're going to hang on to that. Don't
Oh,
open
it's
it yet.
black and red. It's my favorite.
All right. Don't open that yet. You're going to hang on to it. Now, what I'm going to do with these cards, Sean, is I want you to pick a number between 10 and 20.
13.
13. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to count them off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Everybody feel happy with that count?
Yes, yes.
So now what I'm going to do is out of the 13 cards that you have on the side here now, I want you to take those two digits and add them together. So you have a 1 and a 3.
So 4.
So 4, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. I know. We're going to do 4, right? All right. So on top, here's the 4th card after you chose the 13. I'm not surprised you chose 13 just because I know your personality. But, okay, so what we have here is
Queen of Diamonds.
Queen of Diamonds, right? So, Kylie, what I would like you to do is if you would open that box of cards.
Okay.
And just rifle through the cards real quick. Okay. And what you'll notice is that one of them is actually upside down.
Oh.
Sorcery.
What is that card?
Sorcery.
The Queen of Diamonds. Yes, I love magic.
Diamonds.
I love magic.
Nice.
That's some of the fun stuff. And I love doing that kind of stuff because it always leads me to being able to do some of the advice giving, right? Which is really the stuff I have the most fun with. Like when I do the cold reads and stuff, and I'm talking to people, and I actually have a whole lecture series that I've done before on psychic ability, right? And you've kind of heard my explanation of this, and I'll go ahead and give it if you feel like we have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit of time.
So my basic belief of psychic ability is that many of the things that we call psychic. Okay, so I'm not a debunker like Houdini was, and I'm not a complete skeptic like Amazing Randy was, right? I am of the it could be but mindset, right? I know of ways to imitate the things that psychics and mediums do through the means of a magician, right? So I know that could be real, but I know how to do it another way. Okay, that's kind of where I leave that, and I let everybody decide. But to me, psychic ability, a lot of the things that we call psychic, are really the concentration of 3 very natural faculties that every human being has, right? You have intuition, you have empathy, and you have gut instinct. Now, by way of my short explanation, I know I don't have to mansplain these to anybody, but just by way of my short explanation, right? Intuition is your ability to come up with an answer based on what's in front of you, right? Empathy is your ability to feel the emotions of a moment to come up with what's needed, right? And gut instinct is your ability to do what's right based on what's gone before, right? That's my basic explanation of that.
Pretty straight up.
I believe that those 3 things are really the basis of what we call psychic, right? And that some people develop them to a higher degree, some people develop them to a lesser degree, and that there are people like myself that just happen to be completely full of it. That's just mine.
Got it.
Nice.
Long way to go for that punchline, but
I
you got
love
it.
it.
All right.
Super
Well,
cool.
we're getting to the midnight hour here.
We are already.
You want to do some shout outs?
Yes, I want to shout out our realtor, Jeannie Wernke. She is fucking amazing. She has done so much work in the last just 24 hours in trying to sell our house and help us buy another house. So if you are in need of a realtor, look her up. She's 5-star rated. She's got all these awards.
Or look up Kate Marmonti. Who's our realtor.
Yeah,
You made a bunch of money
realtor
after
realtor fight.
hours of us putting it on the market.
Hey, you know, it's fun. Like Jeannie she was like a thoracic heart surgeon for 15 years, and then
Jesus.
she retired and became,
What'd she say?
A Jurassic Park surgeon.
Okay, that's the second joke that I've heard of that. Thoracic. Thoracic? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
But anyway, she's not going to watch this, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, but if you are if you're looking for a realtor, look up Jeannie Wernke. You will not regret it.
Or not.
or not. Do what you want.
I'll give a shout out to Matt McGovern for putting me and Oscar Fernandez on Fox 44 today.
Yeah.
And also to Noella, the host, for for putting Kylie and Cassie on the news. We'll be on the same segments.
Gonna be
That's
the Skellington
exciting.
show on the 11th.
Yes.
So look out for that if you're in Texas.
Yes.
If you're in Texas.
Well, no, actually, you can watch it on fox44.com no matter what. So, what up?
Shout out to those mofos, Chip and Joanna Gaines. Challenge you to step foot in my store.
What?
I don't know, Sean and
Are you
I
trying
were
to
just
fight
like,
him?
No, I don't want to fight you. No, Sean was like, we were talking the other day about what would you ever do if like Chip and Joanna walked into the store? What would you do? And I was like, I would probably die of excitement. And Sean was like, you would make a fool of yourself.
Not so much with Joe. With Chip Gaines, I probably
Yeah.
would. Not so much with Joe.
Yeah. They'd have to
But
come in
What,
together.
would you get all girly with him? Like, oh,
with
God, it's
Chip
Chip.
Gaines, probably. I mean, he's pretty cute.
What about you, Professor?
Well, if I'm going to give a shout out, it's got to be to my wife.
Aw.
Because she is, number one, she writes most of my material for me.
Oh,
Okay.
that's great.
So a lot of the jokes that I come up with is me and her being smartasses in the middle of the night. I'll perform something, and she'll say, she'll come up with a punchline, and I'm like, shit, can I steal that? And she's like, yeah, cool. And so there's that. But she is also, she has had some rough stuff. She's a little older than I am. I'm not going to say how old because
Never ask a lady
Never
her
ask a
age.
lady
Never,
her
you know.
age.
yeah, we never say that about ladies, right?
Yeah.
But got to give her a shout out because over the last few years, she has actually survived open heart surgery.
Wow.
Shout
my
out.
gosh.
She has had other organs that she says all her organs are slowly falling out.
Oh.
She's had other surgeries that she's had, and
Yeah.
she's come through those just fine.
She's a fighter.
She is.
Yeah,
She's a
sounds
Yeah.
like it.
And she is also the reason that I'm in Texas in the first place.
Mm.
And I got told, and this is why I am not a total skeptic. This is it right here. This is the wrap up of that for you, okay? The reason I'm not a total skeptic is because I was told by a psychic back when I was 24. I was told, you are not where you need to be. This is back in Utah. Okay. She said, you are not where you need to be. You're not doing what you need to be doing. And when you get there, it's going to be later in life. Okay. Well, I turned 50 years old this year. And in the last year, I've met you guys. I'm back to doing shows again. You know, all this stuff is starting to open up. So to me, there's a reason that you're put on a path. There's a reason, whatever you believe's in control of it, right? You're set on a path for a reason. And the other reason I give the shout out to my wife is I would never have come to Texas in 01 if it hadn't been for her.
Boom.
Aw, how
That's
sweet.
great.
Yeah. I kind of believe it. I had my palm read when I was a kid, and the lady said my lifeline ended at 32, and it connects, and then a new life, starts.
Mhm.
I met her when I was 32.
Oh, yeah.
So, 'cause I
Oh,
had
yeah.
There
So,
you go.
Look at that.
I've never had my
Life
palm
ended
read
when you
or
met me.
been to a psychic, so
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't do palm reading, but one of these days I will give you a reading the way I do it.
okay.
That may be
It's
an
fun.
episode 2 for us.
I had
Yes.
one done by you. The only
Yeah.
one that I've ever had done, because it was an unorthodox version of it, and I
Yeah.
liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like the way I do that? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'll have to bring it and show one of these times. We'll have to
Yes.
do it. We'll have to do an episode 2 with you.
Yep.
Where can people follow you?
Well, right now I'm on. You can find me, although it's under construction. You can find me on pendarkshow.com. You can also find me on Facebook, and that's where I hang out most of the time. Even though I hate what's going on Facebook right now, but we'll get past that. I have a group there that is Professor Pendark's School for the Gifted but Challenged, and out there I put, magic. I put different. Like I've got old circus memorabilia stuff out there, and I also do kind of my advice. Right?
Okay.
Kind of give my advice and uplifting messages to people. And there's a secondary page to that is the Pen and Inklings of Professor Pendark.
Oh.
That which I actually stole that name. But anyway, that's a long story. That's another long story for another time. But you can find me there. And I'm pretty much, if you Google Pendark or Professor Pendark, I'm pretty much...
He's Googleable.
The only one.
Sweet. You could also see him most months at the Skellington Market.
He's gone to every single one so far,
Yeah,
right?
every one so far.
Plus the vampire ball.
Hell
Yep.
yeah. All right, guys. Till next time.
Bye.
See ya.